Hello everyone and welcome to another ProGuides video. We hope you're having an amazing day and enjoying it to its absolute fullest because we're going to make it better with this video. It's XTR once again, and today we're talking about post plants and retakes. This is very important information in this video, so make sure you stick around as we try and help you wrap your head around properly executing these areas in the game. And one more thing before we get started on today's video, we have the question of the day. What is your sensitivity and how often do you change it? Mine is currently 0.51 at 800 DPI, and I rarely change it, but I've stuck with this range from CS to Overwatch and many other games. So we'd love to hear about everyone's personalized settings in the comments below. To start, I want to say that retake and post-plant scenarios are very situational. There are lots of ways you can play them correctly and many ways that are incorrect. This video is going to help guide you in the right direction towards how you can methodically approach these situations. Just know that there is never a perfect way to play retakes or post plants. But using some of these guidelines, it can help set you up to win rounds that otherwise would be lost to the wind. We're going to talk about the retake scenario first off and then move on to post plants. For our newer players who may not be aware exactly what a retake is, allow us to elaborate. The act of retaking is when the opposing forces gain control of one of your bomb sites, forcing you to swiftly retake the site to defuse the spike before the bomb timer ticks to 0. It's a very stressful position to be put in, but it's going to happen almost every single game you partake in, so it's extremely important to know how to correctly retake. Before we talk about retaking a certain site, we're going to talk about if you are stuck on that site. What are your options? You can run, you can peek aggressively, or you can hide. These are all decent options that you're going to have to decide on. We're going to talk about the pros and cons for all of them. Running is going to be one of your best bets, as if you are alone on the site and there are more than 3 enemies, the most you can offer is maybe 1 or 2 kills, but most likely you will get traded by the remaining players. Now, I want to say even taking down 1 or 2 can be extremely impactful, but falling off of the site and waiting for your team is always better than dying for free. If it is a 4 versus 4 situation, it's much less risky to fall off the site, thus giving you an even retake. When you decide to fall off, it's basically realizing that the fight you are going to take is worse than the fight you will have with even numbers. So in some cases, falling back to regroup with your team so you can fight as a unit is the best play. It's very important that you decide quickly, because if you wait too long, you'll be stuck on the site with the last 2 options, peeking out or hiding. Peeking out and taking the fight is okay, but oftentimes you will get traded if they already somewhat have site control. If you take the aggressive peek on the site you are playing and land a kill, it's also important that you try and fall to a different angle so as not to be pre-aimed super easily. If you decide to stand your ground, take a peek, and don't get traded, it's crucial that you don't take your next engagement in an easily predicted manner. Being unpredictable on site is a very strong way to potentially get more kills than you should in the situation. An example would be peeking long on A site Haven, falling to default box and taking another peek from there, then proceed to move around to the other side of the default box as to not get pre-aimed easily. This is known as defensive peeking and can be devastating to your enemies if done correctly. You also want to make sure that if you decide to take the fight, you don't swing out too far into the angle you are peeking. If you get that 1 kill but you are too far into the open and cannot get back to cover, you will get traded very easily. So in summary on this way of playing the site as opposed to retaking, you want to be unpredictable and you want to not swing too wide and get traded instantly. It's a solid way to play and can win you the round, but it's not always the best option. The final way is hiding on site. This is mainly done on eco rounds when you really don't have anything else to lose, so your position on the site is crucial, as retaking with nothing but pistols can be extremely difficult. It can also be an effective way to catch a few players off guard on rifle rounds if you have no option but to hide. Just know if the enemy players are competent enough, they will generally clear most of the angles. And that's the key word, most. Even at Immortal, I find players that will fail to check angles, allowing me to net my team 1 or 2 kills. You can also delay the plant if you play it like this, because if they do not clear your angle and they start to plant the spike, you can kill the planter, saving your team around 10 whole seconds to get over to the site the enemy is on. So take a mental note, all of these ways are potential ways you can play if you get overwhelmed on the site you are defending, but you'll never really know the perfect way to approach these situations. These are all ways that can work effectively as opposed to making a poor play and costing your team the round. Make sure you run through a quick checklist in your head when you realize what is happening. How many players are alive on my team and the enemy team? What spot am I on in the bomb site? What utility do I have? And what are the odds I can even secure 1 or more kill in my current position? You should be keeping track of these throughout the round so you don't have to think about them as much when the enemy team actually gets onto site, and this will help you automatically kind of know what's going on. This all comes with game sense, and the more you are consciously aware of what's going on in the round, the more your general game sense about things like these will develop. Now, we're going to move on to actually retaking the site. It's absolutely vital that you don't take too much time in retaking the site, but you want to be very coordinated in the way you retake. Trade kills, utility usage, and time management are extremely important in this stage of the round. If you do not have utility, that is okay, but if you have it, retakes are some of the best times to use your abilities. Smoking off certain chokes, throwing damaging utility in commonly played areas. These are a few examples of very good uses of utility in the retake situations. Trading kills is also essential, which is another reason you want to push together. If you clear the site as a unit, some of you will die, but the enemy positions will instantly be exposed, making it much more feasible for you to get a trade kill. Remember how important time management is here? The spike takes 45 seconds to explode and the defuse timer is 7.5 seconds. You can half tick the bomb in case you cannot find the enemy and need the extra time, and it's important that you move with speed, but you also need to be very precise in clearing angles, and you need to avoid putting yourself in unfavorable positions for absolutely no reason just because you are flustered. Because this is very important, you need to be clearing angles and communicating with your team, letting them know where exactly everybody is at. Audio cues are important for the enemy team, so if you eliminate that aspect, you are giving yourself an upper hand. Just be careful with how much walking you actually implement into your retake. If there are 3 of you pushing from CT on Haven into A site, chances are the enemy player already expects you to be there. But if it's just you and the rest of the team is coming from long A, it may be best to walk into the site when your team is clearing site from A long. If it comes down to a 1 versus 1 situation and the enemy has no idea where you are, it can be smart to be silent, but if you are low on time, do not hesitate to run, as you need to clear as many angles as possible and determine if the spike is planted for a specific area. Just make a decision on whether or not you need to go silent or quick in one of these 1 versus 1 scenarios, as there's really no perfect answer to it. Coordinated team retakes are much easier to win than if you decide to push in alone and take fights. If you want to avoid trying to solo push onto a site to retake it, if the spike is planted, it's best to wait for your homies to get there so you can coordinate a push with them. You're not God, and you most likely won't be able to pull a Hiko. To restate the previous, the 4 main rules to retaking are as follows: time management, utility, trading, and playing as a team. Moving on to post plants, again I will explain this for our beginners out there. Post plants are the positions you as the attacker decide to take once you plant the bomb. It is crucial to the round that you play smart positions and don't peek for absolutely no reason and reveal your position. Once again, there are main guidelines to playing post plants, and they are time on the spike, how many enemy players are alive, how much utility you have, trade potential, kill potential, and where the spike is planted. If there are 45 seconds left on the bomb timer, it is best not to take unnecessary peeks, as if you die, it becomes even more difficult for your team to control the defenders trying to retake the site. If you or your teammate decides to swing out and go for a kill, it is also very important that you do it at the right time. This is best done when you believe the defender may be clearing a different angle or isn't expecting you to peek out like a freak. You need to be very careful about the engagements you take here, because if you are going to lose the duel and there is no trade from your teammate, it could lose you the round. If there are only 2 or 3 players alive, aggressive peeking here could be one of the best ways to play in this scenario if you have a team of 4 or 5 alive, as you can have one person draw attention whilst another player assists afterwards. When you have man advantage, it's important that no death from your side goes untraded. This means if you are up 5-2-3, don't take any engagements that your teammates cannot trade, as this will potentially hurt your team and will make it much easier for the enemy team to recapture the site. If you are at a disadvantage, the same can apply. Aggressive peeks to try and stabilize the numbers in your favor are welcomed here, but playing smart and waiting for them to push you is also a very good move, as it wastes time and makes it easier for your teammates to realistically trade you. Just be aware, if you do decide to play in a more defensive manner, it's very easy for the defending team to get into a better position to trade the kills or use utility to flush you out. Utility here is extremely important, and crowd controlling abilities such as Breeze's ultimate or flashes like Phoenix's curveball and Omen's paranoia are your best friends in these situations. You can coordinate a flash with your teammates and swing with the flashbang when you know the enemy player have gotten onto the bomb site. This is a very effective way to gain the upper hand. Just know that the enemy players will be using utility on you if you have any left in their arsenal. Smokes are also crazy useful in these situations, as you can delay upwards of 10 seconds from the enemy team pushing into the site. One useful thing to keep in mind is being aware of your kill potential in your position. Think, realistically, how many kills can you get from your position? Do you have a way to fall back to a safer angle? Do you have a way to maneuver away? Playing positions where you can only get one kill can be okay if you have teammates alive, but if you are the only player alive, it's important that you have both the previous questions answered with a solid yes. If it is, say, a 1 versus 3 situation, you need to make sure that you are in a position where you can get a kill and move to another spot, or are in a spot where you cannot get flushed out by utility. If you are playing back of site on B site split, you will almost never be able to win a 1 versus 3, as the enemy players will easily be able to not only flush you out with utility, but they will be able to swing you with more than just one player. If you can get a kill and move away, it is one of the best ways to play the scenario, as you can get the man advantage and you can stay alive. And for the last guideline, you want to have the spike in a position that you can get to quickly, or see it from your angle. A good example is C long on Haven. If you are playing all the way down long with an up and the spike is planted in a position that you can see from long, you can very easily defend it with just one player and tick down the timer pretty effectively. It's important that when the bomb is planted for you, that you are not the one taking the first engagement in these situations. Most players will know where the bomb is planted for in scenarios like this, so they will most likely tap the bomb to force out an audio cue to get you to peek. But they may also stay on the defuse, trying to mind game you in that manner. This is where you take very subtle peeks or gamble on the fact that he doesn't stay on the bomb. This requires a lot of game sense, but it's easy to put yourself in their shoes the more matches you actually play. A useful tip on this is that you or your team can pull up the map from the grave and ping the bomb, helping you pre-aim the angle or even see it through a smoke. At the end of the day, retakes are extremely hard to win, and you need to recognize when it's even worth going for it. Post plants are easy to win if you have man advantage, but if you give away that man advantage, it makes it much harder to defend the spike. All it comes down to is you making deductions and making a decision on what exactly you want to do and how you want to do it. Be careful about the engagements you take in these positions, and above all, make sure you coordinate these kinds of scenarios with your team. You will never know the exact best way to play one of these rounds on the surface, but you can get pretty damn close by making smart decisions. These guidelines are situational, and now that you know them, you should implement them into your overall decision making in these scenarios. Go to ProGuides.com for any coaching needs you may have within Valorant, League of Legends, or many other games. We have a wide variety of coaches and staff that would love to help you out. That brings us to the end of our video, and as we wrap up, I want to thank you all for staying to the end. If you haven't already done so, maybe check out some of our previous work or hit that sub button. We're always trying to improve our content, so leave some constructive criticism in the comments below. Stay safe, stay healthy, and have an amazing rest of your day.